Hello everyone, this is Lee Wilkins with LKCS, and thanks for joining us today. We're going to go ahead and get started. I believe most of our audience has joined us, so just a little bit of preface for moving forward in the presentation here. I want to let you know that after we're done with the presentation, you're going to be receiving an email with a link to the presentation for download. And you also have the availability to go onto YouTube and download that from our YouTube channel. You'll be able to see that that link is in the presentation itself. Here's that link that you'll also be receiving in the presentation when you get it. So you have a couple different ways to interact with us. Today we're going to be talking about several different aspects of successful websites. LKCS was recently awarded one national and one international award for our website development and our capabilities. So I'd like to go over some of the aspects of things that we do in our website development to help our customers meet those goals to have award-winning websites. So if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to include them in the questions box in the sidebar. You can go ahead and put those in there at any time, and I'd be happy to answer those as we go through, or if you want to wait till the end as well, that's fine. And at any time, you can feel free to email myself after the presentation is over as well. On the last slide, you'll have my contact information to take care of that as well. So some of the aspects we're going to talk about today include design and branding first. We're just going to talk about the overall look and some of the common trends, current trends in design and branding, and some things you should consider. Next, we'll go into content management systems and talk a little bit about some of your options for taking care of those, managing your own sites, and what some of those options include. Next, we'll talk about some integrated custom tools. That will include some custom tools that we've built for customers, and we do all kinds of custom programming to meet specific needs for our customers, so we'll show you some of those options. Next, we'll move into mobile sites. Then we'll talk about microsites or specialized sites and landing pages for specific content that you may have a need for, if it's for a promotion or a specific topic that you want to promote outside of your regular website. Next, we'll touch on social media marketing, and then we'll move into QR codes, followed by NFC or near-field communication. And then last but not least, we'll wrap up with a little bit of responsive web design and talk about some of the things happening with that. It's a newer technology, but we'll look at a little bit of how it works, talk about some of the benefits and some of the holdbacks of using that at this point. So moving forward, we're first going to talk about the design and just looking purely at the aesthetic aspects of your website. Obviously, some of your goals for this are going to be having a professional design, organized and consolidated content areas. That just means making it very clear and organized for your visitors to be able to see the content they need, making the most applicable links and things and content available to them. Obviously, on your home page, you want to only provide the information that they would most likely need, and then utilize your navigation system in that for additional information. But we'll talk a little bit about that as we show some examples. You also want to focus on only using imagery that supports your content. It's going to be something that's going to emphasize the value of the page or the product or service that you're talking about. It's pretty much counterintuitive to include images that are going to just show, the smiley, happy people kind of images, whereas you could use something that supports a product or service to help promote that product. And then integrated third-party elements. Again, we'll talk about those in more detail here in a bit, but part of that is custom building those elements to help promote the design of the site and work with the site, and we'll show you some of that as we move forward. This first sample, this is a sample of one of the two sites that I mentioned that won one of the awards, and this gives you an idea of some of the clean design that we've done. Everything we do is custom designed from scratch to meet our customers' needs, and then also we've of course put our development expertise into play to help the customer meet their goals and take them further than they expected. So one of the main elements you notice right away with this site is the banner ad manager in the middle. We custom build every banner ad manager we do based on the specific design of the customer, of their website, and their specific needs. So this one gives you a little title for each of the different banners, scrolls through and shows those different banner ads. And we'll talk a little bit more about how that actual management tool works in a few slides. But overall, this was based on the design, the functionality, and just the overall effect of the site, and the interactive rate that they get with the site was what helped promote it as a successful site and therefore led us to winning an award with it. Next, we're going to talk a little bit more about branding, which is slightly different than design. Branding, we're talking about consistency and the overall presentation that kind of identifies you as a unique leader in your industry. So when we talk about branding, obviously you want to be consistent with your print media, and all those pieces from print to electronic services should have that professional image to help promote you as a very knowledgeable source in that industry. You always want to maintain your standards throughout the life of your site as well. And that's sometimes can be difficult to do as things change and you have different marketing promotions and needs come up. You want to make sure that you keep in mind your branding and your consistency as you proceed with that to make sure everything is consistent. This is the other site that we had recently won an award for, and part of that was a strong branding presence as you proceed through the site, but mainly on the home page. I'm not sure if you can tell off the screen capture, but there's a lot of focus on their pillar, talking about the strength of the financial institution, and the pillar plays into various aspects of the site throughout the design, including background images on the sides and the background. Obviously, it's a part of their logo, and then throughout the site. This one also has a very strong presence with their colors, which are the blue and the gold that they like to emphasize. So. Next, we'll talk about content management and how that works and some of your options. There's quite a few different aspects out there of how you could approach this, from very inexpensive, even free, up to a pay-per service or pay-per-use service, including, we use Sitefinity ourselves. That's a CMS that's based on the Windows format. And that gives you a lot of flexibility. It is a paid service, but it also gives you the ability to keep up with technology. We take care of all those types of upgrades and patches and things as new technology comes out to help keep you up with technology as new browsers and other technologies develop for your end users. We want to keep up with that. So that's the particular system we use, but then you go all the way down to, as I said, free solutions. There's other cheaper or inexpensive, I should say, prepaid solutions as well that you can use, such as Adobe Contributes, one of the more popular ones we use. It's a little more limited in the capabilities of what you can do, but it's a very inexpensive way to utilize the ability to make changes yourself in text and things like that. So some of the main aspects that you want to consider when you're considering a content management system are obviously the ability to take control of your site. You want to be able to control all the aspects that you feel you should be able to take care of on your own, which therefore is going to minimize your emphasis on a third-party service to make those changes for you, which means you can turn those around as quickly as you can account for on your own time. But it gives you the ability to do that. And the more control, the better. In most cases, for the sites we develop, we give full control of our sites, with the exception of things like the actual design content or the shell of the site. Other than that, we try to make everything possible, or everything that we possibly can available to our customers for editing so they can have control. Again, it makes it so that you can have timely changes. You can do those as quickly as you can make time for. And the nice thing about a CMS is you don't need a degree in web development to be able to manage your site. It's a very easy, intuitive user interface to be able to go through your site and manage the content. Very point and click and very obvious of what you're doing. Gives you the ability to do quite a bit with your site as far as managing your content, editing your editing and deleting your pages, editing your navigation with the drag and drop type system, image and file management. If you have PDFs that you want to be able to manage your graphics that are used in your pages and things like that. The ability to add new functionality and content, such as some of those third-party custom plugins and custom tools that I want to talk about a little bit more about here in a few slides. And then, of course, it gives you the ability for rights management and logging of changes. With more than one person working on the system, the rights management's a big deal because you have the ability to have multiple users logging into the system, and they all have their own unique username and password. As part of that, with our system, you have the ability to log your changes. So every time someone logs in and makes a change, that change is documented as being changed, and it stores a screen capture of the previous version, with the ability to always roll back to a previous version. But each time that's indexed, it also stores a time and date stamp as well as the user that made that change. So for compliance reviews and things like that, it's a very important aspect. And as I mentioned, there's a variety of price structures to meet your needs based on how much you feel you need to do. Some people may not feel they have the time to take on managing the entire site themselves. So for our customers, we do everything from very few changes all the way to pretty much managing the entire site with no content management system in place for them. So there are solutions all the way in between. Next, we'll get into some of those integrated tools that I mentioned, some of the custom things that we've done, and some other tools that we've integrated, and just talk about a few of those. So to start, we'll go over the banner ad management system. We'll talk about our dynamic rates, custom polls for having short questions out there to kind of get a feel for feedback from your members to get an idea of what kind of things they may be interested in or their opinions on questions you may ask. We'll talk a little bit about options for like location mapping for your branches, interacting with Google Maps for that, and a few other things in that section. We'll talk about integrating RSS feeds, our announcement manager to allow you to consolidate all your announcements into one little space as opposed to having to take a lot of page content or real estate up to show all of your announcements. Then we'll talk about custom forms and calculators, and finally on social media marketing, we'll talk about putting some of that on your site as well. Okay, to start with the banner ad management, you'll see a few different samples here of different types of integration. These are three unique solutions we've done for different customers. The top one is an entire graphic that we've integrated into their system, so everything is done in Photoshop first, saved as a JPEG, uploaded to the system. The one to the left, this customer wanted a little more control themselves, so we basically built them an image library, so the graphic portion on the right, which basically ends right where this blue fades in, we give them all the graphics that they could possibly want over in a library to pick from, and then they have the ability to manage all of the text on the left-hand side, including their links, titles, and all these bullet points. And then we also have done some Flash integration with our management system as well, to where we completely build these ourselves, but they're Flash banners, fully animated, to give them a little more attention on their banner ad system. This is a little behind the scenes of the basics of our banner manager system. It's a very simple to use solution. On the left, you're basically seeing a screen capture of the different thumbnails or a little portion of each of the banners they have stored in the system. We'll talk a little bit more about each of these as we go through, but you'll notice there's the edit button, a green icon, and the X. Your edit button gives you the ability to go in and see this screen here where you have the ability to change your web address, change your publish date, and your expiration date. So you can have your banners automatically turn on and turn off at a given date and time. But all these banners that are stored here, you can activate and deactivate with the ability to then store some of the banners that you may use again in the future without worrying about them being out there. So you just deactivate them and you're done. Now you also have the ability to easily change the order of the rotation by drag and drop. You can just click on this thumbnail and drag it to the first position, and therefore it saves automatically and it reflects that on your live site. You'd see that order change. Next, we're going to look at the dynamic rates. This gives you the ability to manage all of your rates throughout your website through one unique control panel. So you would log in with web access to a control panel where you would have a page basically that looks like your rates page, and all the fields would be available for those rates to where you can type in your terms, your tiers, whatever the case may be, and the actual information for each rate. And as you save those, they're automatically updated throughout your site anywhere they may be mentioned. With this particular customer, I just grabbed a couple screen captures from their home page to show you what that would look like. They have a tab system with a few highlighted rates for each of these main topics. And then we also have rates throughout their pages on the bottom of each page specific to that particular topic. So in this case, I'm showing those specific rates on the next, like an auto loan page, I may have the auto loan rates on that page. But they're all controlled through this one system automatically, so you don't need to go through and update those rates, every place they're mentioned or shown throughout the site. I mentioned custom polls. This is again something where we have a management system built to where we can integrate this into your page design, and you can custom create your own polls, manage those. and have the ability to view the votes, create new polls, again, activate and deactivate those as you wish. You can kind of see what the actual poll looks like on the left. On the right is the question. You'll see those all look obviously the same. Your answers, you can add answers to this to have more answers if you prefer. But it's all stored in the back end, and you can continue to create and deactivate old banner or old polls, so you can keep those for future reference, etc., and make new ones. I mentioned location mapping, and that gives you the ability to have little markers. In this particular case, we use the actual logo for this credit union, and we mark their locations with the icon. We also have their ATM locations mapped, and if you click on those icons, you have a pop-up box that comes up and gives you the actual location, the information, the ability to go in and put in your current address to get directions, things like that. Hours, you can get their office hours for that particular location, phone number, contact information, etc. So those tabs allow you interaction all in a consolidated space, and it's kind of a visual approach, so you can kind of see where they're at in relation to other landmarks and things like that. Okay, the next thing is RSS feed integration. I mentioned the ability to pull that information into your website. This particular customer utilizes that one section on the bottom right where we're pulling from a service that they belong to. They have a subscription to this service that allows an RSS feed, and they basically have, it's weekly or bi-weekly, I believe, updates of content to where they pull a headline into this area, and then you have the ability to click on that and go read more information on that story. And the nice aspect of it is it's kind of automatically giving you new information on your website to keep the appearance up that you're updating your site more regularly and things like that without them having to actually go do anything themselves. It's the subscription takes care of itself by updating this area for you through the RSS feed. The announcement manager is the next piece that I mentioned, and this is going to give you the ability to consolidate all of your different announcements into one area. So similar again to our poll manager and banner manager, I mentioned that the green obviously means it's active. So these three particular announcements might be going at the same time, and what we did is just consolidate those into one area. So one announcement shows up, it's going to fade out, go into the next one, and followed by the next one. So it just gives you the ability to put all those in one small space as opposed to having a full page of full information on a specific topic. And then these all link or give you the ability to link, if you'd like, to a landing page with more information. Custom forms and calculators. This is again something we can create pretty much anything under the sun given the direction that you'd like to proceed. This is a custom calculator that we had built. It's basically a refinance calculator. What it does is gives the credit union the ability to have a member come on, provide their current loan payments maybe from another credit union, and it's going to show a comparison chart to show you what you could save if you were to switch to this particular credit union. As you proceed through, you go through the personal, credit card, student, etc., go through all your loans. At the end, you calculate, and it gives all that information. Then you have the ability to submit that information onto the credit union and receive or request a contact, so you can discuss, becoming a member and getting those, moving ahead with trying to get a loan through them to save that money you may be paying in extra interest to your current provider. Okay, social media integration. We're going to focus mainly on YouTube and Facebook today, and I did mention Twitter on here as well. This was just a sample of a custom integration we had done at the bottom of one of our websites where we pulled the current tweet for this particular customer onto their homepage. So they had the ability to, every time they upgraded their Twitter feed, it was pulled to the homepage. We're going to get more into social media here in a bit, so that was just a brief mention, I guess, that it can be integrated, and we'll talk more about the actual things you can do with it and why you should use it in that a little bit. A few slides more. Mobile sites is the next main topic I wanted to talk about. And mobile sites are custom designed for mobile delivery. We're going to get into talking a little bit about responsive design at the end, but that's an aspect of responsive design too, is the ability to create multiple formats with one website. But without responsive design, you're still at the need for needing to create a mobile site that's going to be mobile friendly for your users. And what they're going to see is a site that's going to be a stripped-down version of your main site, probably somewhere in the range of 5 to 7 pages, and it's going to have your main content that somebody on a mobile device may need if they're, if they're in their car or if they're out and about and need to find a location, want to know what a current rate might be, maybe you have a short application on your site, things like that. This gives you the ability to provide that information to them in a mobile-friendly format that they can easily view on their phone, as opposed to trying to view your entire main website on your phone. So again, as it's separate from your main site, it does create a second site that you need to maintain. With that said, in some cases we can integrate the data on both of those pages, both the main site and the mobile site, to be in one location, so you can just update that one time. For example, your dynamic rates, that's a piece that can be pulled to both locations from that same dynamic rate control panel, so you don't have to worry about maintaining those in separate locations. It's going to, of course, be a simplified version. It's not going to have the full branding approach and design that your regular site does. We're going to, of course, try and keep it as consistent as possible with your colors, the clean look, your logo, your main branding, but you're not going to have all your images and things that you would on your regular site. We also offer the ability to integrate marketing ads. Just as you'd have a marketing ad on your home page in your rotation, you have the ability to have a marketing ad on the bottom or somewhere on your mobile site as well, focusing on that same promotion. So there again, you have the ability to keep that promotion in front of them. Mobile and online banking integration. Obviously, if you have mobile banking, that's ideal, because once you log in, it's going to be optimized for your mobile device. But even without that, you have the ability to provide your online banking login so that you could have your members be able to log in and manage their finances. It also makes a good place to use as a location for your QR codes. If you're utilizing those, and we'll talk a little bit more about those as well, your mobile site's already formatted, so at this point you can easily create landing pages for any promotions you may be doing with the QR code on your print pieces and things. So it's an easy way to integrate those. If you have a QR code and you send them to a regular web page, again, you can do that. It's just not quite as mobile friendly as it would be if you have a unique page. As part of that, we also include a redirect code on your main site that gives you the ability to have a user go to your main web address, and we have a piece of code that's going to look at your user's device, see that it's a mobile device, and it'll redirect them to the mobile version of your website. So it's going to send them there as opposed to showing the entire site. Then you have the ability, of course, to have a link that would redirect them to the main site if they wish to go back to that. And one of the other clarifications I always like to make is the mobile site versus mobile banking. There's a lot of mobile terms out there right now as far as that cause some confusion as far as what each product is. The mobile website is kind of an in-between between your regular website and your actual mobile or online banking. It's just an informative section of pages that is designated as a mobile website. The mobile banking is the piece that obviously gives you full access, or gives your members access to their finances. So they're two separate products, but obviously we work those together if you offer both of those services. Here are a couple samples of some of the mobile sites. The first one should look very familiar. This is one of the samples I'd shown earlier as one of our award-winning sites. And this one gives you, again, their branding, their general colors and things. But again, it's very stripped down to be mobile friendly, to load fast, and to fit on this format and screen. To the right, you can see their online banking login box, how that could be integrated. To the right, I have a sample that shows a little bit of the integration that can be done on your mobile device site to give you functionality that you wouldn't otherwise have with the regular site. So you have things like the ability to, on your links, you can include call links, map links, things like that. Phone numbers obviously become links that if you tap on them, it's going to automatically call that number for you. It'll ask if you want to call, but you have the ability to do that. Integration with, again, with a map source. Next is microsites, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one, but it's something where you have the ability to create a microsite off of your main website for a focus on specific content. If you want to focus on a specific product, a service, a concept, whatever the case may be, this might be a good way to do that. I'm going to show you one of the microsites we've done here, but it's focused on a specific demographic of people. So that's going to be a very targeted site. From the design to the interaction, everything is focused on a particular demographic. But it makes it more effective than if you tried to intermingle that on your regular site with your typical site branding and content and things. It also helps you improve your brand recognition. It gives you another URL out there. We'll jump to that in a second, but it could give you a new URL, I should say. It could be a sub-page of your main site, or it could be a unique URL for that particular microsite. It also works as a special landing page for pay-per-click campaigns. You can utilize that for emphasis on, if you have a pay-per-click campaign going, you could focus on this particular topic, drive them to this microsite, and again, when they get there, they're going to see content specific to that particular product, service, or concept, as opposed to being overwhelmed with your regular site content in addition. And again, from the search engine perspective, it also gives you another source that will eventually lead back to your regular site, which helps build your SEO on that main site as well. So here's just a couple different microsites. Again, they always focus on a particular topic, whether it be a game or an interactive element based on a product or service. It's something that's going to be specialized or focused on a particular topic. Next is social media marketing. I'm just going to touch on this as far as Facebook and YouTube mainly, but we're going to go through some of the benefits and why you should use it, how you use it, things like that. It should be, first of all, viewed as a relationship builder and not a marketing or selling tool. One of the most popular questions I still get is, how are we going to be able to make money with this product? And obviously, it's not meant as a direct marketing or selling tool. It's built as a relationship builder. So when someone comes to that point where they're wanting to make a financial decision, whether it be on a new loan or something like that, you want to have the ability to say that you have that relationship built to where they'll think of you first when it comes time for that. Obviously, it can also be used for providing information, financial education, and things like that, but it's mainly just to build that relationship with your membership. Again, that's kind of redundant, but we're talking mainly about focusing on your audience, not the business goals. So you want to do things that are going to provide information to them that are informative and helpful to them and interesting. A big aspect of that is going to also include having dedicated resources to properly manage it. If you don't provide regular updates and keep the content up to date, nobody's going to continue to follow you because there's no information or no reason to. So you need to have resources available to maintain the content for that particular service that you're offering. Again, we're going to target our audience as opposed to ourselves or your business goals. Optimizing and branding your pages also helps improve your adoption rates, so that's something that we'll talk a little bit more about, but we offer the ability to help set up your graphics and things for your pages, set up your account, etc., to help you get that image consistent with your other website, your other e-services, as well as your print services that you offer, print marketing. So this is just a sample of our Facebook page to give you an idea. Obviously, I talked about the ability to set up the background images and things. Any of the graphics, we've done some pretty unique things with integrating this graphic with the background graphic. We have the ability to help you with those aspects, as well as branding and customizing the internal pages to a certain degree. They now have the ability to include iframes and things where we can pull content into those internal pages. So we just want to mention why you'd want to use Facebook. So some of the main points are to gain and maintain credibility and relevancy. Obviously, social media is a huge thing, especially on the personal level, but also on the business perspective. So it's a big deal to offer that, and again, to maintain it. It also offers the ability to increase your marketing presence. That also includes your SEO. It's going to help, again, give you another source leading potentially back to your website that's going to give you more search engine recognition. It also gives you the ability to expand your customer service. It's a way to kind of field questions and thoughts and offer product and service updates and information that are going to help you with presentation to your membership. Next, you have the ability to gain referrals and testimony, and that gives you the ability to get feedback, valuable feedback, and also gain recognition with other people that visit your site. And again, you get to gain valuable marketing knowledge from your audience. This gives you the ability to get feedback that's going to help you drive your products and services and the way you run your organization based on some feedback that you'll get from the people interacting with you. So how this is kind of going to touch on how you would actually use it, or why you're going to use it, and how you would integrate the actual products and services and things that you're going to offer. So again, we're going to offer products and services as far as, things you can do to help your membership. You don't want to go out there with things that are, again, your biggest interest in making money. You're going out there to promote products and services that are going to, through financial education, and improve their lifestyle of your membership. So these products and services are the things you want to focus on. Showing involvement in community service, as well as advertising social and community events, is also a big deal. Those are things that may not appeal to you directly as a direct relationship to your credit union, but it does give you the ability to go out there and show some interest in things going on in the area. And people like to be able to interact beyond just with you. They want to know that you're looking at things going on in the community. It shows community involvement with you as well. As I mentioned, you want to also build financial knowledge. So whether it's a source that's going to be providing just financial information, or you're going to talk about your specific products and services and how you can build that financial knowledge of why they would want to use your products and services, you can do that as well. You're going to be able to expand exposure to promotional offers. This gives you the ability to have another channel, and that includes your banner ads, your direct mail campaigns, any other services you may be using. This gives you yet another avenue to offer your promotions and specials out there, again, focusing on how you're going to help your membership. It's going to increase customer service. As I mentioned, you have the ability to guide and instruct and field questions and things like that through the source. And again, you're going to deliver targeted or specialized content through this channel, as opposed to just a broad marketing spectrum. It's going to be very specific and things that are, again, are going to be interesting. And lastly, of course, it's helping you build your brand. So you're going to be out there with the same look and feel and image that you want to portray on all of your marketing pieces. Next, we're going to take a brief look at YouTube. This is just, again, our channel, the YouTube channel that we have in place, same place that you would go to download this presentation. This gives you the ability to upload your own set of videos and things that you may have. We'll talk a little bit about some other options too, but you also have the ability to upload, presentations you may have done, or obviously we put out our webinars, so that anything we record, we want to make it available out there for others to see. So if you have presentations you do, or anything you do for membership involvement, if it's a presentation or a slideshow or whatever the case may be, you can include that out there as a resource to help build your presence. And again, it's another channel for search engine optimization. So this is just a brief look at what you're going to see when you get in there and you click on one of our videos. This is a particular promotion or campaign that we had done at the time, was on statement campaigns, but that was one of our monthly webinar series that we did. Again, the main benefits for this, for YouTube itself, are going to be things like broad audience delivery. Obviously, anybody that can search the internet can get out there and find your videos. If they're looking for particular information, they can search and find you, and you're making this deliverable to them. There's no cost for the account, so it's a very inexpensive channel to pursue. Again, the SEO is a very important element. You're adding yet another channel that leads back to your site, so you have the ability to build your presence and get your site indexed higher based on your search results as well. It can then be tied into your other social marketing, your websites, and other marketing efforts as well. It's a good thing to obviously promote all of your social media efforts on all of your other pieces, whether it be print or web. It's a good way to keep it all connected. So it gives you the ability to get everybody directed to all your possible channels, to make sure that they have what channel works best for them available to them. One of the biggest things about YouTube is video itself is an engaging kind of media. It gives you a way to actually see if it's a person presenting. You either listen to somebody, you can get a feeling for what they're trying to portray. If you're watching someone, it gives you just an engaging appearance as opposed to reading something that you don't have any emotion or feeling behind. This kind of gives you a feel of how they want you to proceed with a particular, offer that they make or whatever the case may be. It just gives you an engaging way to interact with your membership. Of course, it has the potential for viral growth. We're not talking about the kitten videos and all those things you see out there, but obviously it gives you the ability to have this grow through people seeing it, sharing your content, etc. It gives you that option. And you have, again, many content options. You have the ability to do a webinar like we're doing today as a recording. You can do your slideshows, your PowerPoint presentations, live video feeds of an event that you may be at. Maybe you have somebody videotaping it at one of your credit union events if you have a membership drive day or something like that. You can provide all that content out there. YouTube also has its own editor built in for those of you that aren't currently using it. So maybe you do have somebody videotaping at a membership drive day. You have the ability to go in and edit out sections that you may want to include and put your transitions in and things like that to show some interaction. We have a lot of people, members like to see themselves out on the web and see that the credit union cares about them and things like that. So this is a way that you can do that, get people driven to your YouTube page, and hopefully that's going to help again build that relationship. Next, we're going to move into QR codes. For those of you who aren't already using them or don't know what they are, I'm just going to go over some of the brief background details on this, but it's basically a 2D barcode that gives you the ability to produce it's a black square barcode. We're going to look at some samples, but it's easily scanned by using on your smartphone. There's a built-in scanner. On some cases, others you have to download a scanner, but it gives you the ability to go ahead and scan that and then drive that QR code to another location or provide a different source of information, whether it's a website link, a signature file for someone to provide contact information, whatever the case may be. There's different ways that you can utilize that, and we'll look at some samples of how those can be used. It's basically black modules arranged in a square pattern with a white background. It's very important when integrating these two that they do need a certain amount of space around them and things like that to be easily discernible by your scanner that you're using on your phone, etc. So integration with these is key too. Obviously, you've probably seen the ones out there now that have images or logos and that built into them. That is an option. There's ways to do that as well to, again, increase your branding as opposed to just having the plain old barcode available. As I mentioned, the information that you embed in that code that you go to after you scan it can be text, your URL, your signature file, whatever the case may be. And then obviously once they've got your signature file, you can easily pass your information on to them to where they can add it to their contact information. Okay, the benefits of QR codes are it gives you yet another way to connect with your offline media. So your direct mail pieces that you send out, magazine ads, things like that, you can put these QR codes on there and drive people to your electronic media, such as your website, particular landing pages. Maybe we go back to your microsite, your website, your mobile site, whatever the case may be. You can drive them to different locations based on the specific needs that you may have. It gives you the ability to create a call to action. In the past, you always had to have somebody call a phone number, go to a specific address where they have to type it in, whatever the case may be, but this replaces that with the ability to just scan it and it'll take them there automatically. It provides measurable results. You can track the results of your QR codes as far as scans. Our particular solution gives you the ability to look at a map of where the scans were made so you get an idea of where people are utilizing the service. Again, you're increasing your search engine optimization because you're going to lead back to some kind of electronic resource tied to your brand, your domain name, most likely. So it's going to give you the ability to build your SEO again. It also helps you build your social community. You can tie that into your social media efforts with just going to your Facebook page or things like that, or your YouTube channel, your Twitter page, whatever the case may be. And here's just a simple sample. These are our actual business cards here at LKCS, so this is mine. On the back side, we have the QR code. On the front side, we have all your typical information, but on the back, we included the actual QR code. And then this is just a sample of kind of what it looks like as you're actually using it in the scanner. And you can see that it's identifying these key points in the file itself, and that's what it pulls up, your unique information. Here are a few separate or different implementations of the actual QR codes. I'll start at the top left. This is an actual customer website page where they're trying to promote the use of going to their app store for downloading their iPhone app. They also include different apps for your Android users and things like that. All those are available with QR codes on one page, so you can easily lead those people with their mobile device from your website over to that actual app location just with the use of a QR code. So clearly they're going to be wanting that app on their mobile device anyhow. This is just an easy way to get them there. Okay, on the left, this is actually the Dallas football stadium. This was a promotion that Dick's Sporting Goods was running, where they actually had QR codes up on the Jumbotron down there, the gigantic screen that they have in Dallas. So that's another way to do it, and you can see here just a little inset of what happens on the phone when they went to that QR code. Wine and food, that's or drinks and food, beverages and food. That gives you different ways to show nutritional value. Maybe you go back in this case to this winemaker's particular website to learn more about that particular provider or that company. McDonald's had utilized this on their cheeseburgers for showing nutritional value or data for their actual food products. I mentioned using them in magazine ads. This is a case where this is last year's awards that we had won, but we talked about the ability to scan a QR code and go to our webpage for more information about our web services, see more about the awards we had won at the time and things like that. It could be used for games and promotions. This was a poster that our credit union had run where it was a capture of the tagged game, where they actually have these tags at different locations throughout this specific town, and they could go through and scan all those to actually win prizes and things. They had to go through and get all the different tags scanned. And obviously, again, they could document that they actually did scan them and where they scanned them from the data that comes back. This is just a window decal that was put up. Just trying to get somebody that may be leery about coming into the actual store to come out and scan the actual barcode to get more information about what they may be able to do for them. And maybe that's enough to persuade them to come in and learn more information, or at least provide them to a call to action that's online or electronic. Next, we're going to look at near-field communication. You've probably seen some instances of this around. You may not have even realized what it was at the time, but this is a pretty cool technology, and it's still up and coming. In some cases, it's in more use than others, but it's something I think we'll continue to see more and more of. It's based on the ability to have a radio communication between like your smartphone and a device or an object at close proximity, whether that be another phone or a poster or something like that, and we'll talk about some of those options. It's utilized for financial transactions, data information exchange, simplified setup of electronic communications. So maybe you go into a McDonald's or a Starbucks, and to get a Wi-Fi connection, they can utilize the NFC to just give you the information or the setup for your device to be able to connect easily without having to manually put in all that information. Next is just the ability to simplify. It's a simple way to communicate with minimal user effort. Once they've activated their end of the device, they can walk up to the option, whatever the case may be, whether it be a poster or a phone. They can walk up and just touch it, and it's done. They don't have to actually do anything beyond just activating their end. So here are some samples. As I mentioned, this particular sample was a poster, or actually this was a magazine that had a piece in it that was NFC, so they could come up, scan that from their phone, or communicate with it and get the information they were trying to share. That was, in this case, was their Facebook deal. This is a poster sample where they had a touch point poster set up to where they can come and get more information. You're going to see payment weight or things going on with payments. Starbucks has been using that already. Google's got their own devices out there, but you have ways to make payments through the NFC where you just utilize your phone now, as opposed to actually having to get your debit card out or whatever the case may be. You can come up and use your phone that's tied to your account to be able to provide payment for a service or product. Bump technology, you've probably heard of this. This is just, again, two phones being able to communicate, so you bump the phones and the transaction takes place, whatever the case may be with what you're doing. And the last thing I want to go over is responsive web design. And again, this is a newer technology. It has been out for a couple of years, but it's been slow growing, and there are some holdbacks. So I want to caution you against some of those things, but I also want to talk about some of the exciting things that it does offer. So we'll just go through a few of those points. First of all, the page content, including your images, your layout, everything responds to multiple devices and resolutions that you may be using. So you no longer, in this case, would have to build a website, a mobile site, a site for your iPad or your tablet of whatever source it would be. It's going to automatically adapt to the device that you're using from that same one website. Everything is built, including the images, to shrink and expand and change layout in a particular fashion that you control. In the past, in web development, you've probably seen websites that seem to have filled the screen regardless of what size they are. That's an older technology. That's not really responsive. That's just simply filling 100% of the screen regardless of what that size is. It's just not the same thing as responsive because it doesn't shrink down to a presentable format in any organized order. Those pages always just, things would squish or expand or wrap to the next line based on the size of the device you're looking at it on. But this actually gives you control over what that presentation looks like. Your image resolutions and formatting can vary for your mobile delivery. The basic premise, of course, is that it offers a great solution to various device needs. Some of the negative aspects, and probably the two biggest ones at this point, are the time it takes for development. Your development cost is higher up front because of the fact that it's a very intensive or time-intensive at this point procedure to go through and make all of your elements of your site be adaptive to this the responsive design. So it does take some more time up front to accommodate that. Maybe not as much as having to build your 3 or 4 different versions of your site, but it does take time to develop. But probably the biggest holdback right now is the older browsers that don't support it. In some cases, companies may have a very high-tech audience and they're not concerned about people with older browsers. In the credit union industry as a whole, I would say it's a pretty wide spread of different users. You're going to have some that are going to be back on older versions of Internet Explorer, and you're going to have other users that are up on the latest and greatest. So they may be in the Windows 8 and IE 10 already. So it just depends on your particular user. But your older browsers are not going to support this, so it's a case where it just flat out wouldn't work for those users, which is going to kind of defeat the purpose because then again those users aren't going to have a mobile-friendly device or version to look at if they don't have the ability to see the responsive version. So it's something that as we grow forward here, I think that will catch up as people upgrade browsers and get new computers and new electronic devices. They're going to be able to accept the responsive designs, and we'll continue to see that grow. This is a sample from the Boston Globe, and you can go look at this at any time, but this is just a sample of how their site works. It's, again, all the same site. It was all built at one time, but you're going to see things change as you look at it on different devices. So, for instance, 3 of these, surrounding the phone version, the 3 of these are different formats that you would see. They're on different resolutions on your computers. This one could possibly be the resolution or roughly the size of your iPad or your tablet. But you'll see that things just change format based on the size. So in this case, you have a 3-column layout. In this case, it's a slightly smaller screen. It's still a 3-column layout, but the graphics have shrunk, as well as the formatting of the columns and things to accommodate for that size change. In this case, it forced it down to 2 columns. And again, all this is controlled as to what shows and where it goes. So some of this information that was maybe available on this 3-column version is maybe pushed down the screen or just left off if they felt it wasn't necessary for someone with a smaller resolution or someone viewing it on a tablet or an iPad. And then, of course, the mobile version for a phone, this is a sample of what it looks like on an iPhone. That's going to give you the shrunk-down version. It's just going to be a single column with the graphics, and everything is in one long column. So you still have all the content available. It's just in one row, and it's going to be a very long page, obviously, but it does give you the ability to, instead of trying to build a mobile site that is stripped down to just the 5 or 7 pages, this gives you the ability to show your entire site in a mobile-friendly format. That can be a negative thing in some cases and can be a positive thing in others. If you have a tremendous amount of information, obviously you're not going to want people to wade through everything on their mobile device. You still need it to be easy and functional for them to get through what they need. So in that case, in your responsive build, you would just kick out information that you felt wasn't necessary for those users on the mobile device. So that concludes my presentation. This is my contact information if anybody would like to send me an email or call me at your convenience. I'd be happy to answer any questions.